We started our proofs on Friday. We started with the side angle side congruence postulate, which in a proof we just put as SAS. And this is the postulate that tells us if we know two sides of a triangle are congruent, AB is congruent to DE, as well as BC being congruent to EF, as well as the angle between them, angle B being congruent to angle E. Now, in this chapter, more than any other chapter, make sure you are marking up your picture on your postulate sheet. Those congruent symbols help a lot. If you have two sides and the angle between marked as congruent, that is enough to say the triangles themselves are congruent. Triangle ABC being congruent to triangle. Angle A matches up with which angle in this triangle? D, because it's at the end of the single marked side. I went to B next. B matches up with E, and therefore C matches up with F. Again, make sure you're getting all those tick marks and angle marks on the picture, because the last four-ish theorems that we talk about in this chapter are all going to look very, very similar. So those markings on the picture are going to help us. Once you have this filled out for your notes packet, you should be open to page 13. Because today we're learning about another theorem that can help us say that triangles are congruent. Technically, this one's a postulate. It's the side-side-side postulate. This one we call SSS. This one says if you have three pairs of sides congruent between two triangles. So AB is congruent to DE. BC being congruent to EF. And AC being congruent to DF. If you have all three pairs of sides congruent between two triangles, that is enough to say the triangles are congruent. Triangle ABC is congruent to triangle. Now you got to match up the parts. If I started with A in the name, its corresponding part needs to start with the name of the other one. A is stuck between the single and the triple side. Which angle is between the single and the triple side of the other triangle?
D.
D. I moved on to B. B was between the single and the double side. Which one's between the single and double here? E. So it's going to go D, then E, and then the last one has to be F. This theorem, people tend to find easier to find than side angle side, and for good reason. Three pairs of sides being congruent stands out. It's a lot easier to see because triangles only have three sides. Side angle side, you have to make sure that when you're working with your two sides congruent, that the angle is between them, because if it's not between them like this, that's not side angle side. Side, 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 you just have to make sure it's all three sides. We go through our proofs the same way. We have our statements, we have our reasons. We start with our given. We are given that KL is congruent to NL and that KM is congruent to NM. Just like with our side angle side proofs, just like with any of our triangle congruence proofs, as soon as you have a congruent symbol in the statements, make sure you've got it marked on the pictures. Didn't they kind of do that for us?
Yeah.
That was kind of them. They already marked KL and NL and KM and NM. How many congruencies do I currently have in my proof? Two. How many do I want? Three. Three is what we're going for. Side angle side and side 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 both require 3 congruences. So I need another one. So I go through my things to look for. Are there any words in my proof? No. Are there any symbols? Yes, there's congruent symbols, but do I do anything with congruent symbols now? No, I'm just happy they're there. Do I do algebra in these proofs? No. Do I do substitution or transitive property in these proofs?
No.
Not really. Is it possible? Sure. Am I gonna torture you like that? Only if I feel like being petty. No. Fifth thing you look for in a proof is a picture. There are limited things that give us congruence from a picture alone. In fact, there's only 2 things. Vertical angles and reflexive property. What do vertical angles look like? The X. You're looking for an X with 2 angles across from one another. Do you see an X in that picture? No. What does reflexive property look like? Same. In a picture, it looks like the triangles have a shared side or angle. Do the 2 triangles overlap on a side or an angle? Yes. What's the name of that side? LM. LM is congruent to LM. Something is congruent to itself via the reflexive property. Soon as I have it in the proof, I mark it on the picture. I now see 3 congruent symbols in my proof. So I look at my picture. I notice that it's 3 sides and 3 sides. That is the setup for SSS, side, side, side. I could say the triangles are congruent. Now, when I say the triangles are congruent, I need to make sure I'm matching up corresponding sides. Or, what's the nice thing about these ones? How can I know what to put here? It's the proof. Triangle KLM is congruent to triangle NLM. Done. 3-step proof. We got one more proof today. Y'all know how to start it. Statements, reasons, given. RS is congruent to PT. QT is congruent to QS. Q is midpoint of RP. Make sure you are getting the entire given into your proof. I notice a couple of congruencies are in my given, so I'm going to make sure those get marked. Thankfully, this is another situation where they kind of did it for us. I still go over the top of it just to make sure that I know what I'm talking about. What do you see that you can use for proof?
Words.
Words. The word midpoint. Q is the midpoint of RP. Remember, when you work with words, only pay attention to the stuff that it's talking about. I care nothing about the rest of this picture. I only care about this right now. Midpoint will give us congruent segments. So I'm looking for something like this when I see definition of midpoint. Which two segments are congruent? Which two segments do we agree with Gabe? Are those the two segments?
Yeah.
Yes. RQ is congruent to QP. The word was midpoint, so I'm using the definition of midpoint. If you're not sure what it's called, that's what the orange and the green sheets will tell you. The green will tell you a lot of things up on very top of it. It'll tell you what things will give you congruent angles and what things will give you congruent segments. I mark it in my picture. I notice there's 3 congruencies. 1, 2, 3. It's not SAS. It's SSS because it's 3 pairs of sides on the triangles. That says triangle RSQ is congruent to triangle PTQ. Now, as you get into your proofs today, they are not guaranteed to all be SSS. They could be a mixture of SSS and SAS. That's where you have to look at the picture. That's why I recommend you mark the picture. Because if I see 2 triangles that look like this, is that SSS or SAS? SSS, that's 3 sides. Is that SSS or SAS? That's 2 sides and the angle between. So, you gotta pay attention to what that picture looks like. That picture is gonna help you more than anything. That's why I mark it on here. In fact, I recommend you put your SSS on your postulate sheet right away as well. You did SAS in the SSS one, didn't you?
Yes.
You were far from the first person. If that makes you feel better.